Hey guys, Brian from DEI Powersport here. Today we're going to be working on the Polaris RZR 800. We're going to show you, with the help of DEI products, some ways in which you can help keep the driver and the passenger cool and comfortable throughout the riding season. So like most UTVs, the Polaris is no exception in that there's a fair amount of excess heat. You take a high output engine, you made that to a centrifugal clutch, and then you added a large exhaust system in a compact area, and you're just going to get a lot of heat. Moving the bed off of the chassis reveals a thin aluminum plate, which is fairly marginal heat protection. I did notice that pulling this apart compared to some of the previous year models, that the newer Polaris, they did add some additional heat protection. However, with the help of DEI, we can take it a lot further. So here we have our air intake system along with the air filter, and you'll notice it's right next to the exhaust. Now again, the OEM heat shields are here, here, and here. However, with the help of DEI, I think we can do a better job. Another thing we noticed here, and also reading on some of the forums and in general feedback, that there's quite a bit of heat coming from the main headers. Your highest heat point from the exhaust is obviously right next to the cylinder head. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and take these off, and we'll wrap them with our DEI exhaust wrap, as well as install some additional heat shielding in here, as well as some additional heat shield here. Another thing we noticed was this hose here coming out, and it's incredibly vulnerable as it comes right next to the rear tire. And there's no additional protection here, so we'll go ahead and put some fire sleeve or fire wrap product on this as well to add some additional durability and add some additional protection from any sort of debris that comes up off the wheel, and again giving it some insulation from the header system here. The air intake system here that the OE applied a minimal amount of reflective material. We'll go ahead and finish this off with our own reflective material and really making it much more effective. So we'll remove the access panel here to the clutch on the side of the engine. Notice here again they use some sound absorbing material, but nothing much in the way of heat reflection. So there's a fair amount of heat that permeates through this wall here, as well as vibration and sound. So we'll be addressing that issue. No real coverage or protection for the fuel line. So again, as heat builds up through the clutch and slow running of the engine, or slow riding of the engine, the potential for vapor lock is pretty high. As all this heat just comes up, it doesn't have anywhere to escape to. So we'll be putting some reflective fuel sleeve on there as well. So we know that the UTVs get pretty hot when you're running in slow conditions. So as a matter of protection, we went ahead and installed our extreme heat barrier kit here. The OE had a small amount of heat shielding here, factory wise, but pretty inadequate. So this is a 10 mil aluminum shield with a fiberglass backing, secured by 2 self-tapping screws, and offers a fair amount of protection here, especially in the engine area. Following up with that, we did identify some vulnerability down here with this hose, like we talked about. So we went ahead and covered it with the DEI fire wrap. The nice thing about this is it's a thick silicone and with the interior of a braided fiberglass, so you get plenty of insulation. And then with the thick outer silicone coating, you get a lot of abrasion and impact protection. So with this tire being right here, we noticed that's a pretty big vulnerability. The nice thing about this particular material as well is that it's actually velcroed on, so you don't have to remove any hoses and you don't have to drain any coolant or oil. So with this type of product, it's really convenient and really easy to install. We went ahead and removed the OEM heat shields, removed the exhaust system, and wrapped the entire exhaust system all the way to the muffler using our black fiberglass wrap. Finished it off with our HT high temp silicone paint, coating the exhaust system. That helps seal the exhaust wrap, as well as prevents moisture penetration. We went ahead and replaced the aluminum heat shields with our titanium flexible heat shield. This is a 6-inch by 24-inch piece. It's flexible, So we were able to bolt right up to the main section of the exhaust here In addition, when used with the exhaust wrap, you get a lot more heat prevention, both in terms of heat coming up into the bed area as well as moving forward into the cabin area. It also prevents a lot of the heat from seeping into the air intake area. Well, we had the exhaust off and we were kind of looking over the vehicle, looking for ways to further prevent heat and cool things down. We went ahead and again reflected cooled the entire air box area here, just in addition to the existing heat protection. And just as a precaution, we had the vehicle apart, we went ahead and did it just to take it one step further. One of the other things we did with this access panel is there's a lot of heat and noise that comes from the clutch assembly that we were talking about. And so we went ahead and lined the backside of this access panel with our boom mat product. It's a sound and vibration absorption product. It's a butyl rubber with a aluminum facing. The aluminum facing will help reflect some of the heat back away from the cabin area, and then the butyl rubber component will help absorb some of the vibration and the sound that comes from the engine. We went ahead and used our heat sheath line sleeving on the fuel line. This is the main fuel line that goes right into the fuel rail. And again, back in this engine compartment, you get quite a bit of heat, radiant heat, coming from both the engine and the clutch assembly. So during slow riding or slow driving, there tends to be a lot of heat in this pocket here. And what can happen is the gas starts to boil before it actually gets to the fuel rail. So by using the heat sheath material, that'll help reflect away a lot of the radiant heat. And it also offers a layer of insulation, so it keeps the fuel cool and no stumbles, especially during slow speed or slow driving. In addition to the fire wrap in the back, next to the rear tire there, we noticed that there was a vulnerability up front here, and so we went ahead and used the fire wrap again, covering this radiator hose. Again, as debris and stones, things come up from the front wheel, especially on a four-wheel drive vehicle, there is a tendency for stones and things to have a chance to cut this radiator hose. So just as a matter of precaution, we had the vehicle, we went ahead and lined the front here. Great precaution, especially all the racers out there if you're riding in rugged conditions. Nobody wants to pour coolant all over and not finish a race. So it's one other step that we took. Again, nice outer silicone coating with the braided fiberglass sleeving. One of the last products we added was our radiator relief coolant additive product, and that helps lower the surface tension of the coolant and increases the flow. And what that will do is lower the operating temperature of the vehicle, especially again during slow running conditions or really hot conditions in the summer. You only need to use 1 ounce per quart of coolant, but if you use a little bit more, it's not going to hurt anything. We showed you the original heat shield that comes on the vehicle. It's a small aluminum plate, and doesn't really offer a whole lot of protection from the heat, especially the radiant heat. Again, during slow going conditions or really any conditions, there's not a whole lot here. So what we did is we went ahead and line the bottom of the entire bed with our extreme heat barrier. And what that's going to do is, again, especially if you're carrying a cooler or slow going, you're not going to have that heat coming up and roasting the back contents of the vehicle. The nice thing about this is it's die cut, so it fits right on the back. There's 4 more mounting points along the bottom here. Really easy to install. You just put this along here and it acts essentially as a blanket, reflecting the heat back away and not cooking the contents in the back of the bed.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about controlling heat and sound on your ATV, UTV, or any power sports vehicle, please call us at 1-800-264-9472 or go to DEIpowersports.com.